prophet's prayer and opening prayer. The more Sheikess, which is, what is the dad talk? You got too much issue on today, you need to take the little red thing off. Allah, excuse me. Allah,
Allah,
Father of the universe,
Father of the universe,
Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector
Allah is my protector
by day and by night. Who is holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen.
Amen.
I heard Mike open that door. Come on in, Murray.
Please stay standing for the divine constitution and bylaws.
It's not, we normally don't do it like this, but the flag and stuff just arrived.
Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is in the power to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office of Noble Drew Ali, Chicago, Illinois, U.S.A. Islam?
Islam.
You do not be seated.
Hey, Christian. That reading, y'all know y'all can't move. I know this. So, the two that's usually here. You disturb the heat.
So,
don't get out of line.
as we Yeah, you're gonna be in. There's a couple of things that I want to read to you as we get started. Something out of the Moorish literatures, which are our words from our prophet. You can see, I don't know if you can see the board here. I have some words there on this board. On the board for November 5th, 2017, I have courtesy, politeness, Islam, and social duties. They might seem like all very different concepts, but I'm going to show you how all of these concepts are actually one and the same. Islam? So for the first reading, it's to be read at every meeting. The prophet warns all Muslims. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Nabi. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, noble duality.
Islam.
Islam. I have quite a few things that I'm going to be reading and sharing today. To be proclaimed at every meeting, Islam.
Islam.
I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I've notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Jurali. And then some words from Brother Emilio, who was the first Supreme Grand Sheikh appointed by the prophet. I joined the movement on January 1st, 1927. And on January 1st, 1927, I was approved of and appointed by the prophet Noble Jurali as the first assistant chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America. After being approved and appointed, I had the support of the entire grand body with a unanimous consent in behalf of the prophet's choice and appointment. On the 1st of August of the same year, I received an appointment from the prophet as general chairman of the said Moorish Science Temple of America and was made Grand Sheikh under the prophet in February 1928. I wrote insurance for the prophet in the year 1928, and at the close of the said year, in the first annual convention, the divine prophet Noble Jurali promoted me to the office of or rank of Supreme Grand Sheikh. This promotion by the prophet took place in the first setting of the Supreme Grand Council, representing the Moorish Science Temple of America, in a public meeting at 3140 Indiana Avenue. In the month of November 1928, the prophet made it very plain in the three statements that he was the Supreme Grand Head. Brother Emilio was Supreme Grand Sheik. Next to me, the prophet, and that means all the temples in the government, and there is but one more Science Temple of America, and that is mine, Noble Drew. At an official meeting in February 1929, I was made shepherd of his flock by him. I was told by him to feed his lambs and his sheep. The same month, I was called by the prophet and told to come help him carry on his work. The call came to me as follows. At the close of the regular meeting one Sunday night, he, the prophet, said to me, Brother Miliel, what are you doing right now? I told him, I'm not busy at this time while waiting on repairs. He said to me, don't look for any more work of any kind or any jobs, but come with me. And said, I need someone to help me in my office now as my work is getting so heavy. I will have to have someone to help me. Be at the office in the morning at 9:30 or 10 a.m. And if I am not up, then make yourself useful in the office until I come. He, the prophet, said, there is no salary attached to the work, but if you can come put up with my fare, and if you are willing to sacrifice with me, then I will see that your rent is paid. I will see that your other expenses are paid, and that you have a little spending change. Returning from a trip visiting other temples one morning in front of the home office at 3603 Indiana Avenue, the prophet said to me, Emiliel, Brother Miliel, you will study up now on all my laws to prove yourself, because you will have to do what I am doing. You will go around to all the temples and report back to me. So read up on my Quran, questionnaire, Constitution, and try to be perfect on all subjects, so that you may act intelligent along all lines of procedure. 20 minutes later, in his office on the same occasion, the prophet Noble Drew said to me, I find all of them want to sit in my seat, but at my absence, that is your station. Then when you leave, lock the desk and put the key in your pocket. Everyone wants to sit there because that is where the money is. But I know who I want to sit there, and I know who I want to handle my money. If you leave for any length of time, give the keys to Brother C. Kirkman Bay until you return. Several weeks before the prophet passed, I was called to his private chamber for special instructions on the many ways of life. It was done in a way one could never have thought that the prophet was going to leave this earth. But you would think that he was going to live on in the flesh instead. My final instruction came one night after being called from home by the prophet. And after reaching his home and hearing him speak through his mighty Godheads, he then asked me if I were with him or if I were with them. He further said, I want to know the truth from you today, because I have done too much for you to turn your back on me. I say, I have done too much for you to turn your back on me. If I thought you would turn me down after what I've done for you, it would be too bad. Islam?
Islam.
It's pretty heavy, huh? Started out with some heavy stuff. And then there is one last thing coming from our Grand Sheik, Temple 12, or Science Temple of America, and that would be Brother Junius Murray Bay. Written on September 23rd, 2017. In the name of Allah, Father of the universe, greetings. First, I rise and give perfect praise to Allah, the Father of the universe. I rise and give the highest honors to our holy and illustrious prophet, Noble Drew. I rise and give honors to those whom honor is due, and you, Islam. I've been in contact with all governing officials regards to the incident we are currently dealing with. Let me first state that as members and officials of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we stand in solidarity with law enforcement, as the world cannot be lawless. All should have the law, and all should have Allah. Any man or woman in violation of that great God of the universe, any man or woman, take your glasses off. in violation of what the great God of the universe has given shall surely receive their reward. With that being said, we stand squarely upon the fact and in solidarity with those that enforce the law as it is given to us in Act 1 of our divine Constitution and bylaws. We have been ordered to live the life according to love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when the principles are not met, justice must then take its course. So simply stated, we will head toward our predetermined destination swiftly. No right in which you have worked so hard to protect shall ever be acceptable to be relinquished. I hereby call upon all Moorish Americans to continue to live the life according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, even in these trying times, and with so many of recent events occurring daily, which are less than honorable. Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and bodies clean with water, as instructed by our holy, illustrious prophet, Noble Dwelling. Safety on these streets, in meetings, and about town is and always will be paramount. Continue to do great works Allah has ordained you to do, and surely you will be blessed. Go forward with love, and the rest will follow in due time, as the sun has and will always rise in the east without delay, as the destination is predetermined as well. Peace and love. Brother Junius Murray the Third Bay, Grand Sheik, Divine Minister, Moorish Science Temple of America, number 12. Islam?
Islam.
Okay, well, I read a whole lot right there. There's a whole lot of heavy stuff going on right there. Anybody got anything they want to say about any of it? Questions, I like some activity.
Islam, is that from the beginning when you first started? Or?
From the beginning.
Well,
how can I get a copy of that letter?
A copy of which letter?
From Brother E.
I would recommend speaking to the Grand Sheik.
Islam.
Islam.
I was saying, the prophet started off telling you about the jealousy that existed. And going into that speech about having somebody you can trust. And a lot of time, which still to this day, that is going on. We don't have a lot of Moors that are trustworthy yet because they're still so Europeanized. And this is not anything that we can just get rid of overnight. This is why we have to start working with self. In order for me to know you, I have to know me.
Islam.
I cannot be a perfect stranger and walk up to my assistant grand governor and don't know who I am. Allah has put light in every last one of us, but at the same time, you have a lot of people. They're so used to walking around in the darkness. And see, this is why we have to be honorable as Moors. And that, like I said, that whole letter is deep. I mean, I would love it, for somebody to come up and tell me, hey, let me take you under my wing. And you know what? Which is an incorrect statement, because that's what the Moorish Science Temple of America has done for me, Temple 12. And before I shut this down, I'm just so go ahead and say, when Salih came to me, that's who brought me here, through Allah. And he told me, he didn't want to disappoint me. He said, I hung around for a while to make sure it was legit before I come back and get you. So we need family like that. We need somebody we can trust and lean on. What does it say in our questionnaire? What does the higher self say to the lower self? Where you going, Satan? Exactly. Because it's always there. But you have to maintain a level of standing your higher self and honorable. Our first Supreme Governor, Emilio, was a very respectable person, a Moor in the eyes of the prophet. For him to say, hey, it's key, work this out with me. I'll make sure you eat. I'll make sure you got a little, what do you say? Make sure you got a little spending change on you. I'll take care of them bills. A lot of people want to be in the seat, but I'm going to appoint you, because when I'm not here, somebody got to continue this work. So I believe in you. I trust in you. So that's what we got to get back to as us being Moors, being able to trust each other. Islam, huh?
Islam. And that I had this whole plan for how this lecture was going to go. I had a whole demonstration already prepared, and I think it's going to go that way, but first there's something else that I want to clarify, because we have some new people here today, and even the ones who haven't been here. Sometimes we need to bring it back to exactly what the prophet was talking about. So with that being said, I'm going to read to you the divine origin of the Asiatic nations. If you have your Quran, it's on page 56. So when we're talking about who the Moors are, it has to be defined so that we know exactly who we're speaking of and where those origins are. The divine origin of the Asiatic nations. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and to know if they're higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. The Egyptians, who were the Hammatites and the direct descendants of Mizraim. The Arabians, the seed of Hagar. Japanese and Chinese. The Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites from the land of Canaan. The ancient nations and countries in North, South, and Central America. The Moorish Americans and Mexicans in North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, and Chileans in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, and the natives of San Salvador in Central America, etc. All these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad I, the founder of the United Islam, by the command of the great God of the universe, Allah. Islam?
Islam.
So as I say those words, I say that everybody in this room is a Moorish American Muslim. It's pretty good. It feels pretty good to be able to say that. To be able to share that. To be able to share that what sometimes in our society are considered individual minorities are actually a great big majority. Islam? Okay, so what I actually wanted to talk about today, like I said, those words on that board, courtesy was the first thing, and it just came to me as I discovered that I was going to be lecturing courtesy. What does it mean to be courteous? Well, why should we be courteous? Well, courtesy is from the 12th century word courteous. It means gentle politeness and courtly manners. So you think, okay, well, that's probably something that was from a European type of thing, courtly manners. But we can interpret the word courtly to mean that the Moorish Science Temple of America and the movement have its own court. And those things that we do within the movement and that we do as Moors are our courtly behaviors. Politeness. Politeness is a culturally defined, practical application of good manners and etiquette. That easy. Good manners and etiquette is culturally defined. Some things that are considered good manners in some cultures are considered bad manners in other cultures. So even though we're all Moors, Moorish Americans, whether you define it as Chinese American or Egyptian American, as long as we stay under the same foundation, we have to realize that the Moors, and Moors as in M-O-R-E-S, the Moors, and what we do that we consider traditional cultural practices within each one may be different. For example, if it were the Chinese culture, actually walking close and touching them is a little bit different. They don't necessarily like that, same as in Arabic cultures. So we have to actually pay attention to what's considered proper etiquette. However, one thing is universal proper etiquette. Any ideas what that is?
Smile.
Smiling. When you smile, what are you showing?
Love.
Love. Yes, love. What was that? Oops, I didn't mean. It's okay. It's all good. That's right. Love. So love is a universal courtesy. And that's the one that we all need to carry out of here with us every day. The goal of being polite is to make everyone relaxed and comfortable. Agreed, Islam?
Islam.
Okay, but there's a little bit of problem. A little bit of a problem. And that problem is that although the goal of politeness should always be to make everybody feel comfortable. That same thing can be used to inflict shame when the tongue tells somebody they didn't do it the right way. Is what? And with that, I'm going to read something else to you. Tongues, it comes from the prophet's literature. One of the most difficult things in this world to get control of is the human tongue. Kipling never wrote anything more truer than that when he wrote that. Man must hold most any post if he'll only hold his tongue. Man may hold most any post if he'll only hold his tongue. Before you set your tongue to action, get it under control. A single tongue can do more harm in the world than a battalion of soldiers. For soldiers can kill the body, while a tongue can kill reputations and characters. Really, it is too bad that we have no laws to curb tongues for lying and scandalizing. No doubt you all have read the story of Lago, a character in one of Shakespeare's plays, when he powerfully pictured in the character of Lago the terrible consequences following the path of an evil tongue. Lago not only destroyed the reputation and pure character of Desdemona, but he finally, good fellow, killed her body. And that's why I say, compel your tongue to speak helpful messages, or else keep it still. Make it a rule of your life to use your tongue for high purposes only. The resolve to speak of man or woman was no other way unless you speak of good qualities of that man or woman. No one ever gained happiness out of injuring the feelings or characters of someone else. No one ever failed to get happiness by speaking well of other people. So learn as if you were to live forever. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Is that? What are your thoughts on that? Can anybody think of a time where the tongue was a little bit less than loyal to self? Because I sure can.
It takes me back to the understanding of the mind being the heart. It just makes you mindful. And it takes me to the breath, actually, because in the different practices, when you're practicing mindfulness, when you're first practicing mindfulness, is by being conscious of the breath. You stop doing everything, and of course, your mind never stops if you haven't practiced it. And so you constantly hear, oh, I got to put the food on at 5, and I wonder if the sink's still, all of that's going on, but then you bring it back to the breath to be mindful. And so in the process of building perfecting man, it reminds me of what am I, on a day-to-day basis, at the end of the day, I ask myself, what have been my total thoughts toward myself today? So am I being mindful of what I say to myself? Because that's what's going to come out as we interact with you. So for us to get through that first principle of love, what am I sum total of my thoughts toward myself today? Because that's what's going to come out. That's what's going to manifest.
Islam. And who do we need to love first? We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. You gotta love self first. You gotta know yourself in order to love yourself. That African proverb that said, beware of a man, a naked man who offers you a shirt. Because why doesn't he have it on? Islam?
Islam.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry? I can't hear you. I want to hear you though. If I can't hear you, they can't hear you.
I say he lacks self-love.
He lacks self-love, absolutely. So why do you feel like somebody who lacks self-love can actually love you? Son. Islam, the young brother said, if you lack self-love, you lack all love. Islam. So if you like love, you see love in you and you feel love in you, in here, then you feel love in everybody. And that goes back to the fact that we should be able to see a lot in everybody. We should always be able to see a lot in everybody, in each and every individual person, regardless of whether that person has done something that we consider morally and culturally wrong. We should still be able to see that flicker of the spirit that exists in each and every individual. Someone once said that the eyes are the windows to the soul. And there's something deeper than the soul, and that's the spirit. And that's the thing that we have to understand that exists in every single human. Islam? So when I was reading the letter from our Grand Sheik, Brother Murray III Day, he talked about today and what's going on in today's society, and what goes on in society, the society that we live in, the culture of the world always has an impact on us, whether we want it to or not, and we are inundated with things all the time, all the time, all the time. There's music, there's songs, there's rap, there's TV, there's social media, there's the internet. You can't Google anything without something popping up and feeling some kind of way about it. The first thing is to know that everything that you see is going to allow you to feel some kind of way about it. The second thing is to realize that, but we have a choice. So when you have that feeling of some kind of way because somebody else got killed, and I'm not talking about with police brutality or if it's a serial killer, I mean in general, because somebody else got killed, it makes you feel some kind of way about it. Whether it's an adult, a child, an elderly, whether somebody didn't receive the medical treatment that we felt like they should get, it all makes you feel some kind of way about it. And then you choose to think, well, if it makes me feel some kind of way, I'm sure it makes some other people feel some kind of way. And me working in the medical field, a lot of things make me feel some kind of way. Why didn't it happen this way? Why didn't it happen that way? And it gets a little bit hard, but over the last 2 years, it's gotten a little bit easier. In fact, it's gotten a lot easier. Who am I kidding? Power of a lie is amazing, and the power of realizing and becoming a nationalized one was amazing, is amazing. And living in that truth is amazing every day. So the question is, how do we impact society? Because we're charged with the duties of uplifting fallen humanity. So how do we do that? What do we do? Ideas? Islam?
Can you say that again?
Okay, how do we impact society? We're charged with the duties of uplifting fallen humanity. With all the things that we get inundated with every day, all the things that hit us every day, the bad things that we see, how do we do that? What do we do?
Islam. I guess one of the first steps we could do is start planting that seed, putting it in people's minds about us and what's available to them, showing them who they are, or at least trying to bring them up to speed. But, everybody's not going to get open. But if you can plant that seed, that's the start for them to start, start some type of progress or movement for themselves. That's just my thought.
Islam, and if we plant that seed and the person isn't ready, do we get upset about it? Can't, because it's not love. Now that's hard, because when we know something new, we want to share it with the world. It's the same as when the baby learns how to do ABCs. Everybody got to hear ABCs. When a child learns how to read, they want to read to everybody. You learn a new song, you want to sing it to everybody. When you learn who you are and you learn what the truth is, you want to share it with everybody. But see, the difference is we have what can be considered the PTSD of slavery. And when I talk about the PTSD of slavery, I don't just mean because people have been enslaved in this country. I actually mean the slavery that exists in our minds, because we keep our minds in bondage. And then we hear so-and-so did this, and they did it because you're this, and they did it because you're that. And that's not necessarily the case. People do things, we react to the things that people do because the way that we feel about it. So we react. Where Islamism is action, not reaction. Islam? So what do we do? How do we impact? Spread the truth. That's that seed. Plant that seed and spread